Today we're going to be taking a look at an airsoft pistol with a lot of hype behind it, the Elite Force G19. Does it stand up to the hype or fall short? Find out in today's review. What's up, airsofters? My name is Lane and welcome back to the BB Warrior. We're here to help you have a better time both on and off the airsofting field through our educational content. And if you enjoy videos like these, we'd love it if you joined our community by hitting that subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that bell icon next to it for updates when we post brand new videos every single Friday here on the channel. So I remember when they first announced that Glock was going to license out their design to Elite Force. It was a day that I truthfully never thought would happen. Glock has never been too friendly towards airsoft because, companies have been stealing their intellectual property without paying them any sort of reimbursement. So I can understand why they would have a pretty bad taste in their mouth. However, the folks over at Umarex and Elite Force were able to secure that license. And now we have these cool Glocks. So I was excited, but cautiously excited, because something that I have found out as a gamer is that you can be really hyped for something and then have it fall flat. And that is something that I did not want to happen with this handgun. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the externals of the Elite Force Glocks. And the first thing that I want to mention is this is true one-to-one spec with an actual Glock. This feels exactly like a G19 or a G17 if you decided to go with that model that they released. However, I like the G19 because I wanted to turn this into a roll-in special. However, it feels exactly like the real handgun in terms of dimensions because they are the same dimensions. Now, the paint quality is really good in my personal experience. The plastic on this feels nice and sturdy. It definitely feels better than a lot of other replicas that I have experienced in airsoft that are based off of the Glocks. Everything just feels like it is a much higher quality. Now, an issue that you're going to run into, because this is its own spec, it's different from other companies. At the moment, there isn't a lot that you can do externally. Now, while you can do real attachments, like a magwell extension, if you want to do something flared to help you with reloads, that's possible because it's one-to-one spec. However, if you're looking to really deck this out with any slides or triggers or other stuff like that, well, none of it's available yet. While I'm not counting that against the pistol because it's brand new, I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next year or two and see, how many companies pick up part support for this versus TM spec Glocks. Now, talking about this internally, some parts are compatible, some are not. However, the performance of this pistol is truthfully what I'd expect from a VFC pistol. Depending on the weather and how hot it is out with green gas, you're looking at the low 300s to possibly 1 joule if it's kind of cold out for FPS, or about 280 or so FPS, with like a .20. So it's what I expect. That's an FPS that I typically like. I've never been a huge fan of any airsoft gun that shoots a high FPS. For example, with a .2, my Mark 18 shoots only like 285, but I don't care because it hits out to 200 feet, and truthfully, I'm allowed to get a little bit closer and not have to worry about minimum engagement distances, so that FPS is perfectly fine for me. However, truthfully, I'm not a huge fan of green gas. Every airsoft gun that runs off gas that I use is green gas. However, I think that CO2 is a much better system. It's much more consistent. It has a better kick, which is cool. But overall, the green gas system is fine in this handgun. It's depending on what mags you use, it's kind of a sipper. I've noticed that using the VFC stock mags, I'm not able to get as many shots off as I am with other brand magazines, which brings up a very interesting point. This is TM spec compatible for magazines, so you can use TM, KJW, WeTech, which is what I personally use because they're half the price and they work just as good, if not better, than the VFC magazines. However, that was a really nice touch and something that I appreciate as a player, because one of the issues with a lot of these licensed handguns is that their mags are over $50, which I believe is the case with these. I believe the magazines are $49.95, but I could be wrong about that number. But I like the WeTech mags more. Now, talking to other players who have owned the Elite Force Glocks, more specifically people who own the G17s, I've noticed, I've talked to a lot of people who have reported issues feeding with the Elite Force brand magazine. This is something that I have not run into. However, almost every single person that I have talked to that has owned a G17 has complained about this. And the common consensus, is that it's the paint or the coating that they use on the inside where all the BB sits. Sometimes it snags the BBs and the follower just doesn't want to go up far enough to feed a BB. However, you can resolve that by, using different brand magazines. I highly recommend the WeTech. They walk back on the final BB every single time as long as you have enough gas to bring the slide back far enough. And overall, they're just as good, if not better, for half the price, and they're widely available here in the US. So I only run WeTech magazines through this, and I've only been running Elite Force brand BBs through it. And something that I've noticed is that the hop-up in these is not great. Now, I use 2.8s in all of my airsoft guns. However, I noticed that I wasn't getting far enough with this gun that I was happy with. So I decided to switch down to like a 2.5. And I got about 100 feet or so. Kind of typical of a VFC airsoft gun, or a VFC pistol, excuse me, in my personal opinion. However, that I think is one of the biggest downsides of this handgun is its range. Even with a lighter BB, I wasn't achieving what I wanted to, even with the hop up extremely high up. So that's definitely one of the things that I do not like about this pistol, is the hop up in it. So if you're the type of person that wants to use their pistol as a primary, I cannot recommend this whatsoever. I think it's great if you have a gun that has a minimum engagement distance, and this kind of fills the void. Like if someone comes up on you, you can pull this out of your holster rather than blasting them with your rifle. That's primarily what I've been using it for, because I've noticed that the hop-up just isn't good enough to use this by itself. It can't compete with even mid-tier AEGs because it just doesn't have the range, in my personal opinion. Besides my complaint about the hop-up though, internally this thing has performed great. I've never had any issues with it, and it has fed through every single round that I put through this gun, and that's going on close to about 2,000 rounds before I started, writing up this review. So it does perform good enough, I guess you could say. It will work as long as there is gas in the pistol. However, I think that there are much better options out there. If I didn't mention it already in the video, this is $169.95 here in the US. It's a pricey pistol. I understand why it's pricey, because, Glock has to make some money off it, as well as Elite Force. I'm not expecting these people to go broke. They are a business. However, for $25 more, you can buy a TM 5.1 high cap of gold, which will be a phenomenally better pistol than this. And truthfully, I just have a hard time recommending this to people who aren't going to use it solely as a secondary. Again, in my personal opinion, I like this handgun solely because it has a low enough FPS that at most fields I go to, I don't have a minimum engagement distance, or it's 5 feet. This kind of bridges the gap between where my rifle is and where I have to call bang bang. I hate the bang bang rule, and this allows me to, not have to run around the corner and go bang 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 bang. I can just pull out my pistol. It's a low enough FPS that I can shoot close without hurting anyone. So that's what I really like about this pistol. So I guess in conclusion, would I recommend this pistol? It's hard to say. It depends on what you want to do with it. If you want this to be your primary, if you are like more of a speed softer and you want a handgun as your primary, do not buy this pistol. You are not going to be happy with it. Buy a TM High Kappa, buy a WeTech Glock if you want to upgrade it, because truthfully, the WeTech Glocks, which are $90, perform better than this pistol. Don't get me wrong. As someone who owns both, the WeTech performs better in my personal opinion. I think that this is a much better feeling airsoft gun. I think it has a much higher quality to it. However, I think that the WeTechs perform better for almost half the price. If you're the type of person who wants a nice airsoft gun that you don't need a huge amount of range, if this is, again, your backup, so if your rifle is your primary and when people get too close, you pull this out, yeah, buy this pistol. If you really like how it is, go ahead and buy it. However, something that's actually just happened while I am playing with this, that's my rear sight. So, yeah, that's cool. Wow, I have never had that happen before this video. So yeah, I'm surprised that my front sight hasn't popped out. I mean, it is kind of dovetailed in there, I guess, but, wow, I don't even know what to say. That was completely not scripted or anything. So yeah, I mean, it's a good pistol. It's not great. It's a VFC gas gun. I've never been a huge fan of VFC gas guns. Call me biased, but I just don't think that they're great. I think they're okay. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for my my review of the Elite Force G19. Wow, I was not expecting that to happen whatsoever with that rear sight. I know this got a little off track, but I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you found it informative. Truthfully, if you're looking for a nice gas gun from Elite Force, buy the 1911 TAC, buy the CO2 USP. But truthfully, I mean, it's okay. I'm really excited to see how the CO2 ones come out. Those are going to be next year, I believe. I think those are going to be a much better product. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If this was your first time here, I would love it if you joined our community. But that subscribe button down below, and while you're at it, make sure to hit that bell icon next to it for updates for new videos every single Friday here on the channel. If you'd like to connect with me more, make sure to follow me on social media. Links will be down in the description below. But this has been Wayne from the BB Warrior talking about the Elite Force G19, and I will see you all next time.